What's going on, everybody? This is Renegade number one. I want to start off by saying that this is the point of no return. This is the point where we pass the female nature. We are past the third dimension. We are past the physical world. We are looking from a bird's eye point of view at the matrix. We see the maze. So now, in this particular period, we understand what we have to do. You know, whether that's getting a job, your career, whatever you want to call it, and really implementing our plans. And let me illuminate on that. I want us to start by you know writing down your dreams, learning how to um, follow through with your plans. A lot of us have a hard time with planning. A lot of us have a hard time with time management. Really, what you should do is, again, take it one step at a time. Do one thing at a time. Don't stress. Do things at your pace. Again, you don't need to worry about what's going on with the other person. You just need to worry about what's going on with yourself. Um, Me personally, I struggle with that. You know, definitely time management, definitely planning. But the key to staying ahead is focusing on right now, the moment right now. Don't focus on your past failures. That don't mean anything. It's all about changing your mentality. The person you were yesterday should not be the same person you are today. Yesterday is dead. You died yesterday. Now you are reborn again every day. And so really, you want to know your strengths, you want to know your weaknesses, and you already know yourself. If you genuinely know yourself, you know your strengths and your weaknesses. Now, you definitely want to uh, focus on critiquing your weaknesses, because that will make you more complete, more well-rounded, and you be able to prepare for anything that comes your way. You are strong. You are a person who's amounted to overcoming the obstacles that are incessantly in your way. So for me, how did I know myself? I realized that who you are will reflect through how people react to you. Who will reflect through how people react to your presence. For me, like I said in a couple of my videos, a couple videos ago, if you experience a lot of rejection, that's because you are an alien. And when I mean you're an alien, that means you have a foreign way of thinking. You have a you are not part of the norm. Obviously, you are a renegade. You are extrinsic. You are a person that's on another frequency. And so most people typically don't have a good level of understanding, because they're so caught up in living in the matrix and existing in the matrix and going off what the government is telling them. And they're basically cattle, sheep minded. And you choose to go against the grain, and you deal with a lot of stress. You deal with a lot of exile. Just being a person who struggles to be accepted. You just got to know yourself. You got to learn how to be in the confines of your own personal space. And if you are a person like myself, I consider myself a person who could be introverted and extroverted. I don't mind talking to people, but I realize people are not as open as I hoped for. So now I have to turn to my introverted side, my side to where I have to walk the earth. I have to walk the path of no return by myself. And same with you guys. You guys will experience rejection outside your home, at work, at school, whatever you're doing. People will not really understand you because you are unique. It's, we're quick to say, a person is weird. Weird is not really that abnormality. It's actually pretty normal. And so you are an alien. You come from a different planet. Weird people live on this planet. You can't talk to these earthlings. So if you can't relate with these people, or you have a hard time conferring with just random people, it's because you don't fit the bill. You are not really on that you are not an average Joe, basically. So if you know those things about yourself and accept the fact that you are different, then you can easily move forward. You can easily pass that point. You can accept rejection. You can deal with people talking shit about you. You can deal with people trying to put you in a category. And I'll talk more about that later in the video, but yeah, knowing yourself is the key, man. Knowing your limitations, knowing how this world works, knowing that this world is based on tangible goods. And like I said, if you are a part of the MGTOW community and you watch my videos, I mean, I pretty much have to say you already know how female nature is, and I told you guys, my last last couple videos, that we're not going to be really talking about women like that. We're going to be focused on the fifth dimension, a higher level of understanding the world. Knowing your nature as a man, understanding how the game works, understanding that male and female nature are uh, they're polar opposites, and they're made to be contrary to each other. You know, and understanding how society is. Society has us trapped in a maze. We are fighting for our lives. Society wants to program the way you think. The very TV that you watch. That's why I plan to get rid of my TV. I plan to, sell my system real soon. Social media, obviously. These are all outlets to keep you engaged or hypnotized into the matrix, keep you plugged into the matrix. So you'll never really understand where I'm coming from, or anybody with the higher rim of thinking. Where we have our you will never understand the things that we are talking about. You will never understand this intellect because it's too complex. Really, I would say stop watching TV. Don't even watch the news. And I want to give a shout out to a YouTuber named Left Side of the Brain. I want you guys to check him out. Subscribe to his channel. He has very good content. But understanding society don't care about us. We already know that. They'll tell you to go to school. They'll tell you to get a job. They'll tell you that you should do this and do that. You're just being another sheep. You're being another number. You just a body. You're not somebody. You just a body. And dealing with categories, dealing with labels. The way I look at it is that, unfortunately, everybody's not multi-dimensional. You got a lot of one-dimensional people out there. For me, I'm still broadening my horizons. I'm still growing as an individual, and I'm definitely consider myself an ambiguous individual. I consider myself a person who is foreign. I'm against the grain. I consider myself that renegade because, again, I don't do what everybody else does. I've tried those things. I don't really see anything unique about going to the club. I don't see anything unique about, getting a tattoo, or and if you get those things, that's cool. uh, going to clubs, chasing women, craving them. You know, I don't see nothing unique about those things. Um, I used to do those things and I was ignorant, not knowing. I don't see nothing special about listening to the music that people listen to. You know, nothing really mesmerizes me because it's tangible. The people inside the matrix who are encapsulated inside of this physical world that we live in, they're so simple. They don't understand that I've pretty much seen. I can't be impressed, and that's why I made that video about first impressions. I can't. You can't mesmerize me anymore. I've seen the trickery. I've seen, you know, how people like to create an illusion of who they want to be, but that's actually not who they are. And so when it comes to using your sensory complex or your sensory ability to figure people out without talking to them, you can pretty much look at their behavior and their their demeanor. You can tell if someone is basic and simple just by hearing them, just looking at things they do, looking at how they do those things, um, seeing if they're receptive to things that are opposite of their behavior. A lot of people are lost. A lot of people live in their mind. You know, me personally, I know that society just sees me as another number, and I got to keep fighting. It's a incessant battle with this world, and you have to do your best to survive. You have to do your best to remain uh, in a different remain uh, understanding that you have to remain in that realm of the fifth dimension. The fifth dimension being you do not live on Earth. You live in a universe. You have a higher power of intelligence. Um, and the reason I changed my terminology is I'm trying to elevate, and because to to distinguish those who are different, you have to use different terminology. If everybody's using the same terminology, you can't tell the difference on who's who, because you got the normal people, or the new word that I'm coming up with, the obus, the ordinary beings under existence. You got the obus using the same words that uh, the renegades are using. You see what I'm saying? So if the renegades and the obus are using the same words, you're gonna have this this junction, this cluttered junction, where you can't really. It'll make it hard for you to seek out who's simple minded, who's complex, who's who's extrinsic or not. So that's where you have to change the way you talk, change the way you move. For you have to get more complex. You have to elevate. You can't speak the same way, and that's pretty much how it goes. Um, Understanding who you are. I think I talked about that in the maze. Knowing where you lie at, knowing your status, knowing how people look at you. You have to be aware of these things. You have to learn how to be a chameleon. Um, Being a chameleon, for me, I have a habit of being too genuine, and actually, that turns, sometimes that factors in, but I can't be fake. I don't know how to be fake. I know how to be myself. And if people don't like me, they don't like me. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people that don't like me. You understand? And so if a lot of people don't like you, that means you're doing something different from the norm, and they're not used to being around people with your type of energy. So the initial reaction is to reject you, or you know, express resentment towards how you are. And so for me, I had a hard time dealing with that. But now that's neither here nor there. Today's a new day. Today is a new way of thinking, and we got to keep it moving. You know, you can't dwell on the past. You can't you can't move forward looking back. You just can't do it. Um, you just got to take it. You got to go at your own pace of understanding, and yeah, man. Like I told you guys, rejection is the society will always reject the people who see the truth. Reality has no feelings. Reality does not care about you. It doesn't care about me. But if you understand that, you can easily maneuver in this shithole. You can easily maneuver in this shitty society. And then I want to lastly cap this video off by saying, everybody says this, and I know all of you guys say this. I'm tired of people putting labels on me. I'm tired of people placing these negative stigmas on me. Why do you care so much? I get labels put on me. I put labels on other people. People, and I'm gonna be honest with you. Some of these people are stereotypes. Most people in society are stereotypes. Most people in society are one-dimensional. And I'm going to give you a good analogy of what I'm talking about. If a person, for example, if a lion behaves like a lion, what do you call that? If a raven behaves like a raven, what do you call that? If a bear acts like a bear, what do you call that? You understand? Behavior is the number one indicator of a person's identity. So and you got to factor in, you know, appearance to some degree. You got to factor in that person's atmosphere that they walk around with. You understand? Everybody walks around with this atmosphere of energy that either people repel from or they either gravitate to. So if a person behaves a certain way, then that's what they are. Do you understand? And you can't really deny that. You either accept it or you continuously refute it. But who cares if people put labels on you? You can't deny it. If a female is acting like a hood rat, but she denies the label, then what can you say to that person? If a dude is acting like a thug, but he don't want to be called a thug, then what? You know what I'm saying? You got people like that. You got people who are in denial. People don't want negative labels. No one wants a negative stigma. No one wants a stigma. No one wants to be categorized. You want to know why? Because people don't want to be looked at as simple-minded. Everybody wants, you know what I'm saying? But the reality is there are simple-minded people out here. The reality is there are stereotypes out here. The reality is people do walk around with these labels. You know, the fact of the matter is people don't have introspective. They're not aware of how they behave. They're not aware of where they stack up in society. You understand? You have to be honest with yourself. Are you a stereotype or not? You got to be honest with yourself. Do you put yourself in a category by the way you behave? Because if you behave a certain way, then you're putting yourself in a category. It's not us, people who put the labels on you. It's not us labeling you. You label yourself based off how you behave. Period. You label yourself based off how you behave. If you act like a sheep, you're basically saying I'm a sheep. If you quack like a duck, you call yourself a duck. You understand? So you are responsible for how you are seen to some degree, and it's up to you to change it. This is the point of no return. You can't turn back. You understand? You can't turn back. We know everything. Like I said, I'm going to just cap off this video. If you know yourself, you're good. If you know male and female nature, you are good. If you understand society's shit test, you understand society's subliminal tactics, then you are good. If you know how to deal with labels, then you are good. You understand? The only people that are really concerned about labels and categories are the obus, the ordinary beings under society, under existence. People who are just existing. You got people who are starting to see life, for what it is, and then you got people who are just living. Those are zombies. Those are obus. Those are conformists. Those are the average people that you see at the grocery store, the average people that you see at your job, who think they are different. They're not different. And you know that. You see that. You can use your sensory complex to see that a person is average. But then when you talk to somebody, they'll tell you something entirely different. That's why I learned personally and recently that you can't really talk to people because people lie. People tell you that they're different. People will tell you with their mouth that they're different, and that's everybody. They'll tell you with their mouth that they're different, but you gotta look back from afar, and you have to scrutinize them to the best of your abilities, because behavior is the number one indicator of who someone is. You know, in this whole, I don't get a good vibe look. Feelings are good to use, intuition. But everybody's vibration indicator is not necessarily accurate. You understand? It takes time. It takes time. And yeah, man. Sensing people's energy is something that you should work on. We all got to work on. Misconceptions do exist, but you just got to keep it moving, man. You know if a person is basic or not. If you know a person is not talking about the fifth dimension, you got a person that's not talking about, using different terminology. They don't have an extrinsic way of thinking. Then you can pretty much put that person in that lower rim. That part, they're just a pond. They are a pond in the matrix. They're just a pawn. And if you know what a pawn is, you play chess, pawns they're not worth anything. You are a king or a queen. And you just gotta roll with that. You gotta run alone, man. You can't turn back. You can't change people's minds. You can't force anybody to understand how the world is. You can't force people to understand that what's in front of you is actually temporary. So, it's not about money. It's not about stats. It's not about none of that stuff, man. But this is Renegade #1. I'm out.